Sir Elton John, a global music icon, has launched a fervent plea to the UK government, urging a radical reconsideration of proposed copyright reforms. These proposals, he argues, pose a significant threat to the livelihoods and creative freedom of artists by potentially granting AI unfettered access to online works. His concern centers around the proposed opt-out system, a mechanism that would necessitate artists actively rejecting the use of their creations by AI. This, he contends, places an undue burden on creators and effectively normalizes the exploitation of their intellectual property. The sheer volume of online content and the inherent difficulties in tracking and managing opt-out processes render this system inherently inadequate and potentially disastrous for the artistic community. The inherent complexity of navigating this system, especially for independent artists with limited resources and legal expertise, further underscores the potential for widespread exploitation. John's call for reform is not an isolated incident. It represents a growing chorus of voices within the creative industry, expressing profound alarm at the unchecked advancement of AI and its potential to devalue artistic contributions. He joins a formidable coalition of influential figures who share his concerns, including the renowned music mogul Simon Cowell and acclaimed author Kate Moss. These individuals advocate for a fundamental shift in approach, proposing an opt-in system instead. This alternative model would require explicit permission from artists before their work can be used in AI applications, thereby placing control firmly back in the hands of creators. This paradigm shift would ensure that the exploitation of artistic labor is not simply a potential outcome, but is, in fact, proactively prevented through informed consent and active participation. The implications for the creative landscape are far-reaching, and the call for an opt-in system serves as a crucial defense against the potential erosion of copyright protections. This recent intervention builds upon John's previous collaborations with other prominent artists, notably Paul McCartney, in criticizing the proposed overhaul of the UK's copyright framework. They collectively express deep reservations about the government's plans, fearing that they would permit technology companies to exploit loopholes in the system and undermine the fundamental rights of artists. Their concerns center on the potential for tech giants to ride roughshod over traditional copyright laws, essentially prioritizing profit maximization over the preservation of artists' livelihoods and creative autonomy. This concern is not unfounded, given the history of technology companies appropriating artistic works without proper attribution or compensation. The current proposals, if enacted without significant amendments, would exacerbate this existing imbalance of power, leaving artists vulnerable to exploitation and potentially driving them out of the industry altogether. The anxieties expressed by John and his fellow artists are not unfounded. A substantial number of musicians have voiced similar concerns regarding AI's potential to disrupt the creative process. High-profile artists like Billie Eilish and Stevie Wonder have signed an open letter, issued by the Artist Rights Alliance, demanding stronger protections against the predatory use of AI. This letter explicitly calls for tech companies to commit to not developing AI tools that could replace or render obsolete human songwriters and musicians. This underscores a growing awareness within the music industry of the potentially catastrophic consequences of unregulated AI development, particularly its potential to displace human talent and devalue artistic expression. The letter serves as a powerful testament to the collective determination of artists to defend their livelihoods and the integrity of their craft. The debate extends beyond the realm of music. Renowned Australian musician Nick Cave has famously described lyrics generated by ChatGPT as a grotesque mockery of what it is to be human. This stark assessment highlights a wider cultural concern about the potential for AI to trivialize and dehumanize artistic creation. This contrasts sharply with the more optimistic perspective offered by singer Daniel Bedingfield, who views AI as an inevitable force and the future of music. He foresees a bifurcated response, a neo-Luddite path of resistance against technological advancement, and a more accepting approach embracing the potential of AI in music production. This divergence of opinion underscores the complex ethical and practical challenges presented by AI's integration into the creative world. The debate is far from settled, and the coming years will undoubtedly witness a further escalation of this complex dialogue. However, it is clear that the concerns raised by artists like Elton John, Paul McCartney, and Billie Eilish represent a legitimate and vital challenge to ensure the continued protection of artistic integrity and the livelihoods of those who devote their lives to creative endeavors in a rapidly evolving technological landscape. The question remains whether the government will heed these warnings and prioritize the protection of artists over the potentially unchecked expansion of AI in the creative industries.